Hope you're doing good. This is actually part two of Aptera Steve Frambo talking about their future. And in this part right here, he is actually talking about financing and not financing, getting grants from the government. He's also talking about how he met the CPC group and a couple of other interesting things. And so we are actually going to go ahead and get started with this. I think you'll enjoy what's brought out. This was actually a podcast called A Climate Change, and it's with Matt Mattern, and it was done January the 8th, 2023. So I think you're going to enjoy this. All right, so let's take a listen at what he's going to tell us this time, or what they talk about.
To climate change. This is Matt Mattern, and I've got Steve Fambro, CEO of Aptera, the newest of the electric car companies, and I think an exciting one. Steve, you're telling us about this Series B that you're looking to fund for $150 million to get you to the next level. How much of that has been funded, if you can tell us, and how much more needs to be funded to kind of get you to the production phase or through the production phase?
Yeah, we've. I'm not sure what I could talk about publicly, but we've got, I would say, a significant investment from a strategic supplier, and we also have the public California CEC grant for $21 million that we applied for. It was a competition, and we were one of several companies awarded that kind of grant. So that's a matching grant, essentially. So every dollar that we spend, they give us a dollar back. So it's already a big chunk of the raise that's been helped, by these two investments. But I think if we can keep our fundraising on schedule, and I don't see why we can't, we should be able to get the vehicle into production, go through all of our validation, crash testing, everything next year, and hopefully out to the market.
That'd be great. Well, I think from a public policy point of view, I certainly endorse the state of California and other governmental bodies like the U.S. government getting money out to market-leading tech or manufacturing type companies to continue to have California and the United States lead the world in these technologies. And sometimes the market needs a little push and to take the types of risks that you're taking in starting a new company that's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. And so all the things that you're talking about, just the manufacturing of the car could lead to, kind of be revolutionary for manufacturing in general, as well as car companies. 6 parts instead of 2,000 is pretty incredible shift. Is any of that?
And he brings out a really valid point, just to stop it right there for a minute. The government can really help out substantially in this situation. And if they do, they won't only be helping out, with Aptera and the company, but also they'd be helping out the country, because once Aptera comes out with this vehicle, it's not going to be a strain on the grid like the rest of the EV market is on the electrical grid. So I think it would be good if they took a more interest in the Aptera, but I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Through like 3D printing, or is it totally different processes?
It's a different process, but I just want to hop back real quickly on the government funding. In this case, California looking to keep manufacturing in the state of California. So we're very proud and thankful to be able to compete and have won that grant. But as a free market capitalist myself, you're often our first reaction is, hey, we don't want government involvement at all. But when you look at the competition, when you look at China, you look at Germany, Korea, those countries are heavily subsidizing those industries. So if we want to compete, we have to compete at that level. There's just no other way around it. Tesla is a great example of a company that I think flourished from the original loan, and then they paid it back ahead of schedule. And now how many billions of dollars of wealth has been created by them? How many jobs have been created? So I think that's a great example of how that kind of government assistance can work. Your question after that, give me.
Oh, in terms of revolutionizing the manufacturing, I think you kind of answered it in saying you don't use the 3D printing, but the other, maybe you could explain to us a bit more about this manufacturing process of pressing the carbon, and is that really that new just for the car industry, or is it new in general?
It's new for the car industry, and this particular process is new in general. Let me just give you a brief background. So when Chris and I first met, I was working on composites to build the first Aptera. He was using composites to build his wakeboard boat. He had a wakeboard boat company at the time. And we were using a resin-infused sandwich core composite structure. So there's layers of fiberglass and then foam, like a PVC foam, and then another fiberglass layer. And it's all infused with liquid resin. But we had since optimized that process using very fast UV curing resins so that we could make a structural part in minutes. We could make an entire body part and structural part in several minutes. But there's two big drawbacks to that. It's great for lower volumes. I'd say between 100 and 1,000 per year. Beyond that, it just doesn't scale. And so this was a process that we were thinking of using when we first restarted the company, because we did not believe we would get more than 1,000 pre-orders per year. So we got 1,000 pre-orders in the first day or two. And now we're at almost 40,000. And so a year ago, we had to, we were scratching our heads to say, we can't scale this process. Even as fast as it is with the UV cure resin and everything else, it can't scale the way it needs to scale. And so we dispatched our VP of engineering, Akosh Fair, to find us a process that was scalable. And he went around the United States and Europe and brought us this company. And he called me on the phone. He said, they won't let me take pictures, but you got to believe me. You have to come here and see this. You're just not going to believe it. This is everything we wanted. So Chris and I took a flight the very next day, got to Italy, saw it, and we were blown away. And the process it's a form of carbon SMC, a sheet molding compound. So it's carbon fiber and a resin matrix. It looks like black Play-Doh or a paste. And they simply just put blocks of it in the mold, and the tool squeezes shut, and a couple of minutes later, the structural part comes out. But what they do, CPC, our partner, that no one else does, is they make these structural parts for cars, for Maserati, for Lamborghini, Ferrari, and they design them for them, and they do all of the analysis for them. And so they have this whole ecosystem of not, they're not making SMC trash cans or SMC other stuff. They have this entire ecosystem of design, testing, simulation, validation, everything for these carbon composite structural parts that nobody else in the world has. And on top of that, they can then take those parts and build them into the vehicles. So they're actually contract building these vehicles, just like how Valmet is, I think, building for Lightyear. Magna Steyr is building for Fisker. CPC builds vehicles for other companies. I can't mention them, That's company confidential, but they do the same thing, and they have the skills in house to take it from end to end. So it was transformative for us because we have this composite process that we fell in love with, that we created, but it just couldn't scale because of labor and all the paint and sanding and things like that. And with this new process with CPC, we're able to just produce as many as we could as if it were a steel part. We call it the new steel because it's better than steel. It's lighter, it's stronger, it's recyclable. It's recyclable, I think, up to 5 times as a structural part. So it's unlike any other composite that people are familiar with.
Wow, that does sound revolutionary. In terms of how it's made, is it, you're talking about it being made out of carbon. Is it taking carbon, atmospheric carbon, or what carbon is it using? Is it kind of sustainable, more sustainable than, say, steel?
Well, to date, most carbon fiber is actually the precursor compounds and come from oil. So the way we think about it is this is just like plastics and Tupperware and things like this. This is another use for oil that's not burning oil. So by using oil for this, we're taking it out of the market and using it for something that is other than burning. And so that's how we look at it from that perspective. You'd have to do an analysis of what it takes to mine the ore to begin making the whole steel, like the whole steel process, and compare it. We've done some of that, and I still think that this carbon is very competitive in terms of the overall carbon footprint compared to the end-to-end steel footprint. But I don't have anything that we can share with the public right now. Before we put numbers out, we like to be very, very sure and careful that numbers are correct. But most carbon fiber does start its life as oil. In the future, could that change? Could it be extracted from the atmosphere? Who knows? That's a great possibility. I would love that. But at the moment, we're starting from oil.
Okay. Well, I guess you're working with a company, CPC, that's working with Lamborghini and Ferrari. Those are good, solid car company names. And your car has a very sleek look. It's kind of spaceship X. How did you come up with that design, and why the kind of pod-shaped look of your vehicle?
When I wanted to build an electric vehicle back in California, I did some initial calculations. And I talked to people that had converted some electric cars, which was a thing to do, 15 years ago, because you couldn't buy one. And I discovered that most of them don't go very far. They went 30, 40 miles on a charge. And when I started doing the analysis of where the energy goes, I saw right away, well, over half the energy goes to push the air out of the way. Just the shape of the vehicle, pushing the air is what uses most of the energy at highway speeds. So I had this thought exercise where I said, well, how do we, like in engineering, you'll make a variable go to 0 or infinity. And so I said, how do we make the drag go to 0? What does that shape look like? And that started me on a path of discovery, which resulted in this cambered body.
Well, it's a beautiful looking car. We're talking to Steve Fambro, CEO of Aptera. We'll be right back after this break.
Okay, so we can see that Steve has a lot of things in motion, and I thought it was interesting how they got involved with CPC. They were actually using like 3D printing to come up with their parts for their vehicle, and it just wasn't made to scale up. And I came out with a video about that, about maybe they coming out with a limited gamma edition. I didn't realize, I figured that they could probably get a number of 3D printed machines together and probably print it up that way, but obviously that's not viable. So when they got with the CPC group, it looks like that was like a match made in heaven for them to go there and use their CMC carbon fiber molding press. So I think they are going to get everything rolling here with that setup. And as far as funding is concerned, I believe he's confident that he's going to be able to get all that taken care of. So I'm confident too, because they are actually following the steps that they have actually put in place. And that was starting with the alpha vehicle. They did that. They came out with the beta where they could do all their testing. They did that. They said they was going to come out with the gamma, and they have done that, the precursor to the production vehicle. And now they're working on the Delta, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to come out with that. And then they are actually going to go in production. So if you haven't already, I'm telling you, invest in this company now. This is the best time to get involved with Aptera. And they are fully focused on getting this vehicle out to the public. And they're going to make sure that it's safe and reliable. Okay, well, I'm going to end this here. And so I want to thank you guys very much. And oh, if you haven't already, one more thing, please subscribe and ring the bell, hit the like button, and you'll catch all my videos when they come out, because we got some more stuff coming. This is just part 2. I still got part 3 and part 4 coming. You're going to like that as well. And if you're not getting excited for Aptera, oh my goodness, Steve, he knows that he's getting ready to come out with it, and I am so excited. I can't wait for this to come out. Oh my goodness. But looks like we're going to be waiting at least almost another year, and that's fine with me. I just know that I'm going to get my Aptera, and I am really happy. I hope everybody else is excited as I am. All right, so you can use my link to get you an Aptera. It'll take $30 off, so you just have to put $70 down. And while you're on their website, you can actually invest in Aptera if you do, because this is the company. This is going to be the company for 2021. For that century. It's going to be big and huge. So I want to send a great shout out to my patrons. Thank you very much for joining my channel. And if you're new here, go ahead, subscribe, ring the bell, and hit the like button, and you'll get all my videos when they come out. You guys have a good one. I always enjoy it. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.